Hello, my name is Jalul and I'm a systems engineer here at LiveAction. Today I'll be walking you through an overview of LiveNX solution. So let's get started. LiveNX is available as an OVA that can be deployed in a Hyper-V or a VMware, and to add a device is really simple. All you need is the IP address for the device, SNMP community string, and then you can add a device really easily. And then if you'd like to push configurations from the solution, we will ask for CLI credentials. And then once you add a device, LiveNX will discover it and show it as a circle. So you can see in my screen, I'm looking at a Cisco router. I see three circles on the big circle. The little circles will be the interfaces that you selected and you wanted to monitor. So you can see I have this interface. If I hover over it, LiveNX will tell me the interface name, IP address, if they have any ACLs or quality of service applied on the interface. So everything is visual. And then we also have these end users or network objects. The network objects are great when looking at net flow data. If you're tracing a voice call through the network, you can see it leaving from a phone, going to another phone, or leaving from a laptop, going to a phone. So the topology map is really one of the unique things about LiveNX. And then on the top here, we have different tabs. So a quality of service tab will help you monitor and validate your quality of service policies. You have the flow tab where we take the flow data and then stitch it across the network, and then we can show you how applications are performing and other things within the flow tab. We also have the routing tab where we take the routing tables and then we could display all the routing protocols on a topology map, and we can also track routing protocols. I can select the source destination IP, and .livenx will be able to show us the path of the route. We also have IPSLA built in to the engineer interface where we can monitor existing or deploy new, advanced, or simple tests. And then the last one is the LAN, where we monitor layer 2 information, VLAN paths, layer 2 quality of service, span entry, and other data. Okay, so let's get started with the flow tab. Within the flow tab, what we do that's unique is we take the flow data and then we stitch it across the network, and then we can track an application by performance, by rate, by other metrics. So in my topology, we're looking at different colors. I see blue, I see red, I see some yellow. So voice will be yellow, video will be blue. I have some web traffic going across, network management. Up here we have different filters. So we can ingest flow data from any devices that export flow. We can ingest advanced flows from Cisco devices like MediaNet and AVC. MediaNet can help us track voice and video performance issues, and then AVC can help us track any TCP conversations and the performance of those conversations. And then we also have a DVR built into the topology map. So let's say I want to go back in time, Friday at specific time, and look at a specific issue. You can go back in time. Also, we have filters. Users can create their own filters, or they can use the ones built into LiveNX. So let's say I want to filter down to my voice traffic and monitor all the voice traffic. I can implement a voice filter, and this will basically show us all the voice conversations by port numbers. You can also edit these filters. So let's say I want to add your specific filter. I can add a specific entry or delete a specific entry. Also, I could look at the top 10 busiest conversations, the top 200, the bottom 200. And then the last filter is a troubleshooting filter. So let's say you want to look at this by DSCP, you want to look at this by performance. I can implement a performance filter, and LiveNX will be able to show us all the performance of the traffic. Let's say you want to validate your DSCP traffic. I could implement a DSCP filter, and LiveNX will show us all the traffic by DSCP. We also have a table view. So the table view is great to be able to look at all the source IPs, destination IPs, the port numbers, the application name, the DSCP for the application. So let's say you want to validate if your DSCP markings. I can sort this by DSCP, and I'll see that my VoIP traffic, my SIP traffic is marked best effort. So really great place to look at the different conversations. Also, like I mentioned earlier, we have a DVR built in. So let's say a user was having a problem Friday at specific time. I can go back in time and search for that user. So let's say port 19420 was having a problem. I can go back in time and search for that, and I can see that I'm just looking at that conversation passing through my port 19420. And if we track it through the network, you can see that this user is marking traffic correctly, passing through the MPLS cloud, going to the data center, coming back as EF. But when we get to the MPLS, we drop to best efforts. You can see that the blue line here indicates best effort. And then again, if we click on the table view, we have all the basic net flow data, and we also have the performance data. MediaNet is great to be able to look at packet loss, jitter information within voice and video traffic, and I can see the application name, the DSCP, and then the packet loss information. And if you want to drill down even further, I can double click on the packet loss percentage, and LiveNX will be able to show us the performance of that phone call end to end. And I can see it is the first site, the second site, and then I see packet loss. I see an amber color on the QoS policy indicating that there is a interface slash QoS policy drops on the interface. And then what I can do, I can actually take that data and show it in my topology, and I can track that phone call through the network. Another unique thing about LiveNX is we can monitor and troubleshoot. So we notice that this phone call is passing through an Amber interface. If I double click on the Amber interface and switch to the quality of service policy, now LiveNX will be able to show us all the applications traversing the interface, as well as the quality of service policy information. So you can see I have a class default, I have voice video classes highlighted in amber. That means we're dropping traffic. So let's say I want to find out how much drops I have on my voice queue. I can right click and show drops on my voice queue. And then the powerful thing here, I can actually right click on the queue or the class, and LiveNX will go out and read the configurations, and I can see the class name, the queue settings, the reserved bandwidth. I have 26% of bandwidth available, 18% for my voice. Say I want to change that to 28, I can do it directly from here. Here's the CLI. And if that looks fine, you can actually save it to the device directly from LiveNX. Also, regarding quality of service, LiveNX is one of the recommended solutions for deploying and validating quality of service. So if I'm looking at the QoS tab now, I see all the interfaces. I have some policies applied on the interfaces, and let's say I want to edit a specific policy, I can right click on the policy name and go to manage QoS settings. LiveNX will be able to show us the QoS information on this interface, and I see I have a queuing, set DSCP, shaping policy. I have my voice queue or voice class. I see all the match statement. Let's say I want to add new match statement. I can really easily add new match statement using an ACL, for example. So let's say I want to add my voice audio to this. I can really easily add all my match statement directly using this interface. It is a CLI, and if that looks fine, you can always save it to the device. And then another powerful thing here, let's say edit a policy. You can take that existing policy and update all the other devices on the network really easily. Okay, so going back to the topology map is a great place to be able to track conversations through the network, but we also have a device view. So let's say I double click on one of the circles. LiveNX will be able to show us all the live traffic passing through the network. So you can see the protocol, the source IP, destination IP, the application name. Let's say we're troubleshooting a Skype problem. I can right click on Skype and apply it to the search, and LiveNX will be able to show us all the only the Skype conversations traversing this device. And then we also have a playback option here. So let's say I want to replay all the traffic that was traversing this device Friday or a specific date and time. I can go back in time and replay all the net flow data that was traversing this device. Okay, regarding the routing tab, within LiveNX we'll be able to track the routing loops, asymmetric routing. So let's say I want to track all the routes going to a specific destination. I can right click on a network object, use it as a destination, and if I hit show routes, LiveNX will be able to show us all the routes going to that specific destination. If I double click on one of the circles, I'll be able to see the routing table for that specific router. And then we can also display different protocols. So let's say I want to monitor my static protocol. I can select the routing protocol I want and hit update, and LiveNX will be able to show us all the routing protocols within the network. And then also IPSLA, as soon as you deploy LiveNX, we'll be able to discover all the IPSLA tests you have on the network, and then you can run a report. So let's say I want to look at this test over time. I can basically right click and run a report, and I can look at latency, jitter, loss, and other data for the last hour, 6 hours, 1 week, or a custom date. Also, I'll be able to deploy an IPSLA test really easily. So let's say I want to deploy a test from this device. I can select the test type, the interface for that device, and then for my destination IP, I can click anywhere on my network. And let's say I want to add this interface to the test. I can click on it, and LiveNX will be able to generate the IP. And then if that looks fine, I can save it directly to the device. And then also, LiveNX will be able to monitor any existing tests and the health of the test. So I can see I have some tests running. I have some of them are running correctly, some of them got disconnected. And also within the LAN tab, we'll be able to monitor any VLAN information. Let's say you have a VLAN that you're trying to track through the network. I can select the VLAN number, and LiveNX will be able to show us the VLAN path through the network. I can also show spanning tree. If I have spanning tree on my network, I'll be able to show the row bridge, the forwarding ports, the blocking ports, all within the LAN tab. And if I double click on one of the switches, I'll be able to look at all the physical interfaces as well as the access ports, any input drops within the interfaces, and also any layer 2 quality of service information. LiveNX also has great reporting built into it. So, being able to understand the top talkers, the application bandwidth, and within the application report, the unique thing here is you be able to drill down into a specific application. So let's say you see SSH, you want to drill down and look at all the conversations under SSH. I can right click and run an IPs and ports, and LiveNX will be able to show us all the source IPs, destination IPs, the port numbers within the SSH application. Also, being able to validate quality of service. So let's say you're looking at VoIP traffic and you want to validate the DSCP. I can right click and drill down and look at the DSCP report for my VoIP traffic. I can clearly see that 80% or 90% of my traffic is running EF, but I see some best effort traffic. Say I want to find out who's running best effort, I can right click and drill down, and LiveNX will be able to show us all the VoIP traffic running best effort. Also, going back to the voice and video traffic performance, going back to the MediaNet flows, being able to look at jitter, packet loss within a network using these flows built into the Cisco iOS. So I can see the application name, packet loss, jitter information. Also, the AVC data is great. Being able to find out if it's the application problem or is it the network, is it the server. This data is great for troubleshooting a specific application. So you can see SSH. I'm looking at the application delay, 758 milliseconds. I see my network delay is 84 milliseconds. So if I have users complaining about a specific application being slow, I can come to this data and say it's the application, not the network. So some really great reports and data help you troubleshoot network problems. Also, for an SD-WAN environment, LiveNX is one of the recommended solutions for monitoring an SD-WAN environment. So you'll be able to see the traffic change, the path changes, any performance issues within your SD-WAN environment. So you can see that we're looking at a voice traffic passing through the MPLS link. I see the internet link. We also have a dashboard that's really designed to monitor the performance of SD-WAN. So you can see all the alerts by app group, by service provider, by sites. And the good thing about this dashboard is you can always drill down. So let's say I see alerts between Tokyo and Sydney. I can double click, and LiveNX will be able to show us a report that will show us all the loss within these two sites. And now what I could do with this data, I can always drill down. So let's say I see there is a problem between my Tokyo and Sydney. I want to know which application has been affected. I can right click and look at alerts by app group, and I can clearly see that my voice EF is the one having a problem. Now I want to know which service provider is causing the problem. I can right click and drill down and look at alerts by service provider, and I can clearly see that the MPLS is the one having a problem, and I can see that the problem started around 11:05. So let's validate or verify if IWAN or SD-WAN rerouted the traffic. So I can go back to my topology map, and then verify the path around 11:20. And if I hit refresh, I should be able to see all that traffic uh, going over the internet path. And that is all my voice traffic going over the internet path. So the iWAN or SD-WAN did rerouted all my critical traffic to the internet. Also, within LiveNX, we have a dashboard view. A dashboard is really a great place to monitor the health of the network. So you can see I have a status dashboard, a WAN dashboard. The WAN dashboard is great for SD-WAN monitoring, so being able to look at the site utilization, application bandwidth, service provider bandwidth. And then the status widget is great when monitoring the performance of the network, looking at the sites, the performance of the sites, the applications within those sites. I see that 5 of my applications are having a problem. I can really easily drill down directly from the dashboard and get to the data I want really easily. So I can see that my VoIP, RTP video, RTP audio is having problems. Let's say I want to focus on my VoIP. For example, I can click on VoIP application, and this will basically show us all the performance data we need to troubleshoot that VoIP application. And you can see that I'm looking at jitter, packet loss, inbound, outbound, some reporting, DSCP inbound, DSCP outbound, bandwidth information, and other data. Also, within the web UI, we have workflows. One of them is the WAN interface capacity story. This is a great workflow to be able to track bandwidth changes within the network. I can see the site name, the service provider, the device name, the key interface and monitoring, the capacity, the utilization for last month and this month, and any percentage changes. And then also we track the CPU changes as well as the memory changes. And let's say you see an interface that's using more bandwidth. I can right click on the interface and open up a report that will help me understand why that interface is using more bandwidth. So interface bandwidth information, interface errors, interface utilization, quality of service drops. I don't see any quality of service drops inbound, but I do see some quality of service drops outbound. Top applications inbound, I see video, Citrix, VoIP is one of the top talkers. Top applications outbound, DSCP for those applications inbound and outbound. And lastly, all the top source IPs and the destination IPs. Also, another workflow is the security flow analysis. And because LiveNX collects all the NetFlow data and stores it raw, we can basically help you use that data for security monitoring. So let's say I noticed there was a malicious IP on the network. You can filter down to that specific IP and then see who was talking to that IP, how long the conversation was going for, all within this security flow analysis story. And another unique story for SD-WAN monitoring is the site-to-site analysis story, being able to see all the sites, the utilization, the bandwidth between the sites. And let's say you're troubleshooting a problem between your SD-WAN sites like Tokyo and Sydney, I can drill down on LiveNX. Will be able to show us all the applications flowing between the sites, so the application name, the DSCP, the service provider or the path that the application is taking, and then the status of the application. And what I can do with this data, I can actually hit play, and LiveNX will be able to show us any path changes within the SD-WAN environment. Also, the reporting is great within LiveNX. We have great templates built into LiveNX to help you validate any EasyQS environment, making sure your EasyQS is functioning correctly. So we have all the different reports that can help you validate the policies, and then you can execute these templates directly from the web UI, and these templates will have all the information you need to validate and verify your EasyQS environment. Also, within the web UI, we have the ability to create advanced reports. So let's say you want to pick up specific data that you want to share with the management or colleagues. I can pick up any report I want. Let's say I want to look at the top analysis report. Maybe I want to look at the bandwidth utilization. Maybe I want to look at a quality of service report. I can add some really specific reports to this master report that I can share with others really easily. Okay, thank you very much for watching. That was just a quick overview of LiveNX solution.